I've pondered a lot about how to write the introduction to this thing, and of course, the way I do things, I do the end first and then work toward the beginning, and now I'm about done with all these videos, and I'm writing the introduction. But I guess the first time I really realized that I was getting old was when I caught out of the corner of my eye a woman telling her little kid and pointing at me, "Why don't you ask that old man over there?" And it clicked a piece of my old gray matter, and I began to think about, I guess I am getting old. I was born in 1929, and that was around 2020, so about 4 or 5 years ago. So, yeah, the years are creeping up pretty fast. So I began to think about the things that I've seen and happened to me during the span between 1930 and today. And of course, I like history, so I've been aware of the changes in things to a degree. But I began to think of it in terms of my own life and what I've personally seen and experienced. So one of my oldest kid told me, he said, "Well, why don't you make videos of it?" And so I bought a cheap, $400 camera and microphone and tripod set up on the internet, and I bought some software for editing videos and getting them into the computer. And I paid $50 for that. So I launched myself into the video industry, and obviously I'm a dire threat to the whole industry when people see what I've done here. But now that I'm done, I can really appreciate the nightmare difficulties of editing pieces of words and sounds and noises that are discomforting to the listener, and of course the color changes caused by the sun and so forth. I'm doing this in my study, or whatever you want to call it, in this room, and the front door is just to my left and forward a little bit, and I have many trees on my lot, so the shade is predominant most of the day. And I use interior floor lamp for lighting so that it isn't totally dark. And I'm sitting in the same desk chair in front of my computer during the whole series. But now that I'm reviewing them and looking at them, and I wouldn't start over the same way. First of all, I'd buy a better microphone at minimum. Although the camera's been all right, although it gets a little twitch now and then, but basically it's been fine. But the microphone, it's been giving me trouble. Sometimes it's noisy, and sometimes it sounds different than the last time, and so forth. So I invest in a more definitely better microphone. I have a good computer. I have a Mac Pro, so I'm well equipped with lots of capacity for videos, and I haven't had any trouble there. I've had a little trouble with some hard drives. I've converted my computer to solid state. My computer is 12 years old, but with solid state hard drives, it performs very well. And of course, the sound, I end up eventually buying new loudspeakers. The ones I had sounded pretty good until I started making videos. So I had squeaks and noises and buzzes, so I decided to fix that. But the software, the editing software, it was designed for beginners, and of course nobody started slower than me, but it's clumsy and not user-friendly, although I don't know what user-friendly editing software is, but sometimes I could tear the hair out of my skull over it. Well, it's difficult to explain, but I would invest in much better software. Let me put it that way. And I won't mention the name of the software that I'm using, but spend some money on it if you're going to do this. is my advice. And of course, I've discovered that there's a mysterious factor in the lighting. Uh, I found that I can make a video in the morning in full sunshine and beautiful day outside, and a few hours later I want to add some video to match what I've done earlier in the morning, and the reds and the colors are different, and the lights are, nothing's the same. I'll say this: if you're going to be serious about making videos, you need to find a room, close off the windows, set up lighting fixtures that don't move, mark on the floor where your your chair is going to be each day, wear the same clothes or at least similar stuff, or have a anyway, just don't sit down and make movies wearing anything that you happen to have on that day, because if you go back and edit or something, you a pink striped shirt one day and a purple one the next one or whatever, and so I've learned all this at the end, of course, and I've been over 3 years doing this, and so you see the variety of everything. So if you decide to watch these videos, I hope you'll pick up your cross and carry it through the endless jerks and sound issues and whatever distracting things that you see have all been labored and toiled over and are an integral part of all this stuff. So, but I hope that that those are superficial things. I hope the message that I'm trying to convey is clear enough. Certainly it's convoluted, but I hope that the theme, which is that there has been a massive change between everything pre-war and everything post-war. I've lived through that transition point, and I can see my early decade and a half and the remaining decades of my life, how they compare. And to try to explain this to somebody that's been born with an iPhone in their hand to one that was born at the beginning of the Depression in 1929 and experienced it as a child and know what his parents went through, it's not really possible to do that. And there are hundreds of thousands of books written in that attempt, but I'm going to try to explain it from my own personal life. 75 years ago, I met a beautiful woman, and she loved me all my life. Every day of our existence since that day, she loved me, and I know that. And it was the greatest blessing on this earth for me, because she made my life as good as it could have been. And she was a kind, honest, calm, bright. Well, she was my better half. There's no joking about that aspect of it. And she was a stabling anchor for me and our family. And we ended up with 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls. We lost our oldest daughter 10 years ago of cancer, but 7 still remain, and they're doing well and all educated, and one has a PhD, and they're in various businesses and technologies, and well, I don't know what most of them do. It's too complicated for me, but I have an idea anyway, especially the 2 that are involved with CNC machining. That's more my, no, I better not say that. That is not more my speed, because my education in machining, when you used a ruler and a hammer. But anyway, I'll talk about all that later. But I'm proud of our children, and I'm proud of the way their mother taught them right from wrong and how to live properly, and gave an unbelievably good example of kindness and affection firmness. She was a perfect woman. She was for me. She was my beacon and support throughout all those years, 70 of them. We were married 68, but anyway, she died in 2018, so it's already been years, and I miss her every day. But anyway, I was an engineer, stumbled into that vocation. The Lord has blessed me every day of my life without fail, even when some of the days were a little bit, a number of the days were a little bit antsy, and I experienced fear, but I also trusted, and he responded. So I'm thankful for all the turmoil and so forth that he sent my way as a training lesson, and he proved his existence. And I didn't ask for it, but he did voluntarily prove that he is real and in control. So, with that groaning explanation, I'm going to get into the meat of the whole project here. So, I hope if you watch that you understand the theme behind everything I'm saying here in these many videos. And I'm wishing the same blessings on your life as what I've experienced. So let's go to number 2.